Hi everyone. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear
Awesome.
you.
Great. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
That's
Good, thank
awesome.
you.
Good,
All
thank
right.
you.
I wanted to respond to some comments that were done on the group regarding feeling some heavy energy in the back. Did anyone have any heavy energy in your lower backs yesterday? Yeah? Looks like a lot of people did, and it's funny because I felt it and I was like, okay, so let's see what that's all about. So I think what's coming up with all the healing that we're doing is connections to ancestral work. So I wanted to do two things, and I'd love to do kind of roundabout vote to see who wants to do what. Um, Two things that I would love to focus on before the end of this challenge, and it's healing frequencies, which is working with color. So noticing what colors are the most healing for us, what colors will bring us into joy, what colors will bring us into calm, peace, integration. It's very important to understand how colors affect us and how they can heal us. So that's one thing that I wanted to do, as a continuation to yesterday. But another thing that we can do is start working with ancestral lineages. So, which ones would you like? Can we have like a vote? Can you guys raise your hands
Oh my God,
if
you
you
can answer.
want ancestral lineage work? He's raising hands. Everyone's raising hands. Raising hands. If you're not, okay, I have two hands there. Whoever doesn't have their camera on, if you guys can at least raise hands in the button. Oh, people say yes. Okay. Okay. Oh, we have a lot of raised hands. Okay. Versus working with color frequency. So basically, working with understanding what colors are the most healing for you, what colors are the most empowering for you. And so we put them into our energetic space so that they change how we're experiencing our life. So it's a very powerful tool as well. But we can do that one tomorrow if you want and do ancestral work
Okay.
today. So yeah, everyone says yes. Okay. All right, let's do that, guys. Let's do that. Let's work on that. Okay, so I want everyone, so let's talk a little bit about ancestral work, okay? Let me actually, yes, for ancestry, everyone says ancestry, okay. So, let's talk about ancestral work. So, how does ancestral work? We talked about in, I think, day 4 or 5, we talked about how when the soul comes into the body, it attaches to the body. And when the soul attaches to the physical body, it's attaching to two different aspects of ourselves. The DNA, right, which is the physical organic body, which is made up of these cells that are constantly writing DNA. And that DNA is basically what's holding on to information that we are storing aggregate copies from the mitochondrial DNA and all of both lineages, our father and our mother. And so all of those past experiences that they have had are feeding into our present moment, those experiences. And so we have that the history of our lineages, and all lineages that we have been connected to are all encoded in our DNA. So hold on just a moment, please. I'm trying to go live for the people that wish to join us here live. Let's see if we can do that. Okay. I guess we will just post it later. So, okay, so we are holding on to that DNA information. And so what happens is that the majority of our experiences are a direct result of all of that information that's being fed into us, okay? And as children, when you're born, I mean, you're beginning to be programmed by the belief systems that you see in your family. You see your parents act out certain behaviors, and you learn little by little as a child how to feel, what is the right way to love, right? All of that is demonstrated for us by our parents and by their programming. And so by the age of 7, we are completely coming into a complete program where we are already understanding whatever programs were instilled in our parents is what we are now learning. And everything that we've learned up until the age of 7 is basically solidifying the way that we're going to perceive the world, the way that we see the divine feminine, the way that we see the divine masculine. All of that is already programmed. So taking a moment and kind of noticing how is it that, what was our thoughts about the feminine? What roles did the mother play for us in our lives? You know, was she attentive? Was she maybe narcissistic? Was she very loving, caring, nurturing? Or was she overwhelmed? And then looking at the father, was he present? Was he available? Was he available emotionally? Was he ashamed of his emotions sometimes? So noticing all of those things, those are all the programs that we take on into our body. They make up who we are, literally. And those are solidifying the neural pathways to that information, that dialogue that's created in the brain. And when we are triggered by a circumstance that brings up this scenario, we pull back into the filing cabinet of this information and we take the pertinent file and we apply. We then respond and react according to what's known. Now, interesting things that happen from childbirth up until the age of 7 is that the child comes in very open. It is intuitive. It is connected with itself in the most natural, organic way because its energy centers are wide open. And this allows them to be able to transmit, and usually they can see things. They can see beyond just the physical. And so what happens is that every time that he or she experiences something that is creating a blockage or a conflict in the natural expression of a belief, for example, an expectation to be loved, for example, or nurtured by the mother. There's a certain feel, there's an expectation, and this is a natural expression. This is nature, right? What maternally a mother should provide and what the expression of the masculine. The balanced feminine and masculine expressions are what the child will have known already naturally because they are so connected to nature, they're connected to their divine blueprint, and they know. And so that turns into a kind of expectation of some sort or an understanding that that's what should be received. And when it's not received by the father or mother, that's where there creates a split. And so the child is put into scenarios growing up where they are meeting these experiences, oftentimes causing a great shock and trauma because they don't know how to respond. There's arguments in the home, there's disharmony in the home, and the child doesn't know how to respond to that. It becomes overwhelmed. And anytime that we feel that we are in the unknown, we don't know how to react, we come into a state of disassociation. We become fragmented. The soul becomes fragmented in any moment of trauma because trauma is any time that the person feels helpless. Okay, helpless or doesn't know how to respond. And how many times has that happened to you when you're interacting with friends, with family, someone says something, catches you off guard, and you're conflicted between, your shame, many emotions, anger, frustration, judgment, all of these things. And so this is something that we feel in the body. The moment that you feel those conflicting emotions, that is the moment that fragmentation has occurred. And literally what happens is an aspect of yourself is fragmented because there's a disconnect between what's naturally known and expected or a certain expectation which binds you to a certain timeline. So when we have expectations and we're bound to this timeline, when it doesn't go the way it's supposed to go, the soul becomes fragmented. And so this is why it's so important to come into a state of neutrality, because ultimately we have to be able to experience all shades of experiences, the full spectrum, good, bad, without judgment. We should be able to navigate them openly. And the only way we do that is by dissolving all of those expectations and programs that we have attached by receiving what we think we need from the external plane around us, from external sources. It can be love, attention, affection, all these things. And so the soul becomes empowered, the human becomes empowered by acknowledging first, knowing themselves so well that they know what they need in any given moment. And the only time you come to that realization is by having gone through the work of looking at your past and understanding where there was lack. Because those moments of disassociation between what was expected naturally, because you're a natural expression of nature, like a plant knows exactly what it needs, water, air, sunlight, earth, you also need certain things. You need love, you need acknowledgement, safety. And those things we think we're programmed to receive externally until we understand that we have to be our full providers. And so trauma then becomes a constant in our lives. And we keep going into these moments where we are expecting from the external place to provide these things for us, but we end up so traumatized. And by the end here, we end up fully fragmented. And I shared with you an image of like a little sphere that's interconnected with all these dots. Every one of those dots is a fragmented aspect of yourself, okay? And we more and more enlace ourselves. We are spreading out like little vines or threads. It's like threads of information. The threads are contractual agreements. Every time that we create this trauma in ourselves, we are creating contractual agreements and further solidifying our attachment to the physical sensory plane. This is why we talk about leave the reincarnation cycle, right? So you leave the reincarnation cycle when you start cleaning up all of these threads with the people, places, and things that we've come into a state of fragmentation. So when we do the work that we're doing, okay, when we're cleaning up all of this stuff that we're storing in the body, we are looking at those moments that caused these disassociative experiences. And we begin to analyze, observe them in order to better understand what the soul, the core soul, needed from a place of absolute authenticity of that soul, complete alignment with its true expression, not false expressions, not looking at programs like, oh, the mother was supposed to act this way and provide this love, and therefore I feel completely unloved. Now I have to be in a victim role all my life because I had a mother that did not love me. Those kinds of programs are very heavily put into our mind. They are put into our mind by society, by religion, by the entertainment industry. We watch movies of these families that are perfect, but you know, how many of us actually know a family that doesn't have those kinds of conflicts and problems? I mean, all of us in our families have conflicting issues because we are all trying to live out programs that are not truly authentic. And at the end of the day, we end up disconnected with what a human should be. A human is allowed to experience this full range of emotions without judgment, without fear, in order for it to come into its most high expression. And so we block others from doing that because of our judgment, and we block ourselves from doing that because of our fear, because anything that goes outside of those parameters now becomes unknown. And of course we are trained in a sense that anytime we come into unknown, we become fearful. So that fear, that unknown, uncharted water now becomes a place for us to become fragmented. And so what we do with ancestral work is that what we'll notice is that because these are cyclical belief systems that are coming down in ancestral lineage, the belief that we are, let me give you an example that's pretty general. The man, for example, he has to be a provider, he has to be a supporter, he has to be never over emotional, always in control of his emotions. So this is a program that was stuck in the family, and his father killed himself all his life to fulfill this identity, to the point where he became ill, and the whole family, it was a disaster. He never showed love to his children all his life because he was busy trying to fulfill this identity. So this is a program that went down from his father. His father did the same thing to him, didn't provide him that love, that attention, so on and so forth. And so we can trace these programs all the way back to the origin of literally the inception of life on this planet, when these programs started to become the norm. And when you begin to question those programs, you begin to notice that a lot of these programs were kind of put in by the church, they were put in by society, by, they were made as choices for financial institutions, for the benefit of financial institutions through organizations, by creating a need for things outside, programs. And all of that in order to create a very compartmentalized view of our society, of ourselves, more and more fragmenting us into little compartmentalized individual, this idea that we're free and an individual, but completely negating the natural expression of unity that comes when we come into a complete authenticity. And so this is a conflict that we're dealing with here on this planet right now, and it's something that we've been dealing for centuries as we experience this human timeline. So what we need to do is to go back and deprogram all of those ancestral programs that we have took on that are an inversion of what is true. Okay? What is true is the natural organic expression of a human being, with its range of emotions, without the limitations and ideas of shame. Shame and guilt were introduced by religion. They were introduced historically, put into our timeline by creating by inverting the natural things, like, for example, sex, desires, making all of those things very shameful. Being a woman, certain parts of being a woman were shameful, certain parts of being a man was shameful. And so, creating all of these ideas just completely creates a general disassociation for the human race, because now we don't know what's up and what's down. We think we do by following these norms that are very destructive to this human organism. So when we take the chord of the emotion, we're going to find an emotion, okay, in the body. And so for us, we were feeling a lot in the lower back. So let's focus on the lower back and notice what emotion is being held there. I want you to take that emotion. That emotion will inform you as to what is the blockage that is causing this contractual agreement. There's parts to this. There's the emotional pain. There's the energetic cord connecting you to the prior moment. And then there's the contractual agreements that were made. Contractual agreements are exchanges of energy in order to experience and understand certain experiences. And these are made on the highest level. Everyone in our lives, everyone that we share space with in this timeline, whether it's your family or even your neighbor next door, is connected to you by resonance. We are united like cells of a body. Okay, like the finger cells. All the finger cells are in this location, right? All the leg cells are in this location. On this planet Earth, we are grouped together by country, culture, race, religion. Literally, even if you're a cocktail of all those things, we are grouped together by resonance. In America, we are all learning and going through certain processes of evolution. In China, they're all going through certain processes of their evolution. And all of those experiences happen in our nucleus, in our family, and they also happen on the larger scale. So when we're unraveling these contractual agreements, we're going to be reaching the origin point in our current life. So that'll be the youngest point. So even in the womb, in your mother and father, or whoever was your caretaker at that time. And then you're going to see them, where they created their belief systems. Their belief systems are going to guide you all the way back to their ancestral roots. And what we're going to look at is that vibrational frequency, that vibrational emotion that was held in your body is a direct result of the programming that they're holding on to and reliving, cycling down the lineage, down the DNA. So you're going to, in a sense, holographically enter into a projection of what you're holding in your DNA. And we look at that root, and you're going to see where on the earth it's connected to. Okay? Some of these roots can go back to the origin country of your parent. It will. And some of you might even be able to see where the cords are on other fragmented aspects of themselves in other dimensional planes, which allows you to unravel the blockages you have in your higher levels. Because our ancestors, it's not a linear timeline. It is that big orb of dots that I showed you. They are with us, and we are experiencing simultaneously our reality and their reality. And that's why we can affect these timelines. We can begin to heal and change what we're experiencing. So we want to uproot those old programs, because they are, again, a mirror of our same self. And as we clear them out, okay, as we clean them out, you're going to see all of your ancestors that are in resonance, again, fragments of yourself, and you're going to provide healing for them. This healing will allow them to become aware of other possibilities. You're going to inform them that it doesn't have to be with that program. There's another way. You can be loving. You can love yourself. You can embody peace and harmony. You don't have to feel threatened or unsafe. So all of these programs are something that you can inform them, allow them, show them. And again, all that we're doing is we're bringing that rainbow spectrum. When white light shines towards a prism, it fragments into these spectrum of colors. Okay, imagine all of those spectrum or colors are emotions. Okay, all of them lead back to one main emotion. Okay, we can transmute all of them into unconditional love, because it's unity. When we bring all of those frequencies back into one frequency, it becomes white light. And that white light is that unity, that unconditional love. So not love from relationships and romantic things. We're talking about the real unconditional love, which means that everything around you is a part of yourself. And so that's what we need to tap into. That's the wisdom that we want to begin to embody now. So, and of course they say that there's two energies, because we live in the dimension in which we're an expression of polarity, is either love or fear. Because one unites and one separates. And so this is our job as this whole organism, is to experience separation in order to come back into unity, into one, into that 0 point. You are the Alpha, the Omega, becoming the whole. This is the invitation that we have as a human in order to create balance in the body, harmony in the body, healing, thriving, and to become the highest expression. So all of that has to happen, throughout your life. And the opportunities that you have are every single moment. Every moment you choose a certain experience, a certain emotion, you are choosing between these two polarities, either creation or destruction, fragmentation or wholeness, vitality or coming closer to death with some kind of illness or imbalance in the body. So start thinking of your healing like this. The healing is a choice of either thriving or the opposite. Okay, and that is a direct result of your emotions at every single moment. Every cell listens to this, and the body is intelligent, so it responds to all of these things. Very good. So wonderful. Let's get started. I'm going to take you now in going back to those, and I'm going to guide you. Some of you that have had DNA reprogramming with me have done this work. But again, we have a lot of these experiences in our life. And until we understand what are those key cyclical things that we always keep going through, we are literally transforming this organism. And we change how we feel, how we respond, how we present ourselves in the world changes by cleaning up these root programs. All right, let me answer some questions. Do colors too tomorrow? Yes, colors are tomorrow. Lori says, yesterday I was lying down and felt a gray cloud of energy lift above me and clear my lower chakras. That's amazing. Some of you were able to lift some of that up. Some of you had a little bit of hard time. So we're going to work on those. Why is that? We take that on. Why is it we take that on? Marie, it's okay. Are you talking about what we're storing in our DNA, basically? I mean, this is a part of our design. Okay, it's a part of, from free will, you chose to experience polarity, and so this is how one experiences polarity. Okay, and polarity is not just black and white; it's all the ranges in between that, right? That we're here to experience. So this is the human experience. This is what it's for. We come in wide open and naturally light and bright, but through programming, right? We are, deprogrammed into these little beings that we forget our greatness, how incredibly powerful we are as creators. And so some of us have the opportunity at an early age to wake that up and come back into our power and do what we're supposed to do here. But some of us, we can lead an entire lifetime and then maybe later on in life then begin to understand what we can experience here. Now, to me, I'm not the kind of person that will say, this is the law, you need to be this way, you need to be an enlightened being. I am not that. I think that everyone has a free will. And if you wish to experience pain and suffering, by all means, experience pain and suffering. And so I think it's a choice. And that's the beauty of ourselves as being free will, sovereign beings, that we come in. And I mean, there's many parts of this. Also, a lot of you that are here coming back from higher frequencies. You come back from 12 dimension, 13 dimension, coming back into this timeline in order to experience once again collectively and to see if we can collectively move through. So we're working with many fragments, extraterrestrial parts of us. Some of us believe we have councils working with angels. All of these are parts of us. So let me answer the next question. Ruba, just want to let this beautiful group know that I have to leave this session, but we'll catch up in the recordings. This work that we're doing together is profound, and I really feel changes. Thank you so much, Ruba. Sorry to see you go, but we will see you tomorrow. I also feel like you're assisting us in clearing energies, absolutely, and I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Cedric, do healing happen at 0 point? Yes, it happens. I think actually it is sustained in 0 point. But to get to the healing point, we are going through many processes of deaths and rebirth that have to happen. Parts of us that have to recognize our ability to come into an expansive self, and parts of us that want to stay in constricting selves. So it's a process. But you won't get to the 0 point unless you unravel all of these programs and understand your 0 point is your most authentic expression. It is unapologetically who you are without fear of judgment, without your insecurities, without programs, without anything. You understand fully that whatever it is that comes up in your life is a natural expression of this experience. And therefore, no more stress, no more anxiety, no more fear, and you're able to look at things and come from a place of observation instead of judgment, not just to yourself but others. It is the most liberating state of being. And so it is sustained through that neutrality, which is why we want to come into that neutrality as much as possible, come into that observer state. Okay, so Rita, thank you. This really helped me to understand the ancestral lineage and why. Thank you so much, Rita. All right, my love, so let's get started. I want you all to get very nice and comfortable. We're going to start by inhaling deeply. And exhaling. We're going to begin to ground ourselves down to the center of the earth. Send those cords down nice and thick. We're going to create our protective field around the body, connecting with our toes, with our shins, ankles, knees. Relaxing the body, bringing the body into a state of calm, of neutrality. Breathing deeply, going up into the solar plexus, into the chest, the lungs, the shoulders, the arms, into the neck, the head, the face. Making sure there are no openings in your protective field. Checking in. Gently closing those spaces. Very good. Some of you still have your back open. Make sure you're closing it completely. Breathing deeply into the base of the spine. Don't forget your breath. Your breath is so important. All right. So we're going to go deeper. We're going to start working with the root chakra. Go ahead and close that root chakra all the way down to the size of a dime, coming into a reading state. Breathing deeply, and we close the root chakra to disconnect any imbalances that live within this root that we are still unaware of. Going up to the sacral chakra, closing that orange light all the way down to the size of a dime, front and back. Going up to the solar plexus, closing that chakra all the way down to the size of a dime. Going up to the heart chakra, opening that chakra as wide as possible. Opening the center of unconditional love and connection. Going up to the throat chakra, opening that chakra as wide as possible, front and back, opening the center of communication. Going up to the third eye, opening that chakra as wide as possible, opening the center for intuition. And also beginning to observe that wherever we feel we have blockages in the body that feel hard or difficult to expand or open up, this is also a cyclical program. More than likely, your parents, if they were to come into this meditation, they would have the same kind of blockages. Okay? These are belief systems. They're thought forms that cause blockages in the body. So you're going to go up to your crown, and you're going to take your creative color, and you're going to fill that into the crown, that wheel, the creation wheel. We're going to fill it into the intellect, into the section of emotion. Fill it in with your color, the color of your highest expression. Relationships, family, health, abundance, money, our connection to ourselves, and finally our purpose. What are you here to do? Fill that in. Today we start again today, aligning all our actions, thoughts, intentions in alignment with our highest expression. You're going to inhale deeply and exhale. From the center of the earth, I want you to go ahead and visualize pulling up a powerful green energy that comes running up into the body, creating a vortex of energy. Visualize that powerful green energy coming into the body, swirling, creating a vortex at your center core. For this kind of work, it's very important that we utilize these two energies because they really help clean the multidimensional body, neutralize it. From the universe, go ahead and visualize bringing down a powerful wave of gold light that comes down to the crown of your head, down your spine, combining with that green earth energy. Mixing those two, creating a powerful vortex the size of your body with earth energy and cosmic energy, the fabric of which you are made from. You're going to send 10% of that combination back down to the center of the earth. Focus on eliminating any heaviness in your body. Focus on the lower back, the chest, the head. Scan your body. What needs to be released today? Let that go. Breathing into those spaces as you release. We are training ourselves to be more connected with this body. Going back to the solar plexus, take 80% of that combination, send it up your spine, green and gold coating the outside of your protective bubble, correcting any kind of deception, people, places, and things that are no longer in alignment with us, toxic cords, parasitic consciousness. Becoming aware and disconnecting from what we no longer want. Visualizing that green and gold energy washing, clearing, and cutting all those things. You're going to go back to your solar plexus. You're going to take that final 10% up your spine, down your arms. You're going to feel the inside of your bubble. Breathing deeply, absorbing that green and gold energy into the body to heal the body. Visualize it penetrating into the pores, into the flesh, imagining the flesh, the entire layer of flesh in the body, into the muscles, all the muscles, down to the cellular level, taking a moment to become aware of all of the cells in your body, unlocking their ability to communicate with us. Let us know what needs to be worked on today, what aspect of ourselves needs assistance and attention. Go ahead and scan the body now and allow the body to communicate to you what part of the body needs attention. Let's take a look at that. Scan the body. This is how we begin to find cords of ancestral blockages. What do we need work on? The body is intelligent. It will respond to you, and you will know. Usually it's the part that is hurting, or the part that feels tired, or blocked, or stagnant, sore. It's usually the problem areas in the body. Okay. Go ahead and choose that location, and I want you to focus on it. Focus on that part of your body. And I want you to just sit, feeling what's there. It might be uncomfortable. Observe it. Be absolutely present with it. As you breathe into it, it almost feels as if it's expanding the sensations. Perhaps the pain is intensifying. The uncomfortable aspects of it intensify. I want you to observe what you're feeling without fear, without wanting to run away. Okay, now beginning to get some emotions. Go ahead and tap into those emotions. Underneath that pain, underneath the discomfort is emotions. So go ahead and observe what emotions are coming up now. So those emotions will begin to intensify as you focus on them. Again, I want you to observe them without judgment, without fear. Let them do what they want to do in the body. You might notice they move around from different organs in the body or different parts of the body. You might feel that you want to run away and stop feeling what you're feeling right now, but this is the key to unlocking you. Go ahead and feel that emotion. I want you to notice, how familiar are you with this emotion? Okay, you might notice it travel to other parts of the body. Focus on what it's telling you. You're going to begin to feel other emotions now underneath this emotion. Understanding its origin. Okay. Go ahead and take that emotion, the strongest one that is in the body right now, the one that stands out the most, even though it might be subtle. Take that emotion that stands out the most. Notice where in the body it's located. This is where the cord is going to be. I want you to take this emotion and recognize, when is the first time in your life that you had this emotion. Go ahead, take yourself there. If this is a very difficult emotion to go to, I want you to visualize that it's on a screen and you are sitting in an audience watching it, unaffected. You're just observing yourself in that scenario. Go ahead and watch yourself, see that part of you. This is a fragment of your soul. It experienced trauma in this moment. And the trauma produced this emotion that we are now stuck in, playing like a broken record over and over again. Anytime someone triggers this emotion, we come back here. And we respond in the same way we responded in this moment. Unsure, confused, in survival mode. So go ahead and see this part of you. And I want you to surround it in a golden sphere of light. Whatever's happening around, you're going to protect it now from this space. I want you to see the people that are participating in this experience in front of you. I want you to observe them, and I want you to ask yourself a question. Do these people have the tools that they need? An understanding of what you need and what they need? Do they know? Just watch them. Oftentimes what they're doing to us can be quite shocking, quite traumatic. And just for a moment, I want you to freeze frame and look at them in the eyes. Just for a moment, look at that soul. What is it that you see in those eyes? What you're seeing here is the ancestral program that they have lived through in order to end up here. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at your body where you were holding on to those emotions, the cords that are in your body, and I want you to see them connecting to this person. Where in the body do they connect to that person? I want you to take that cord and you're going to go ahead and see where is the origin point. It's going to go all the way back to their ancestors, where they came from. So go ahead and trace it back. Imagine that you're zooming out on the planet Earth and you're going to see all of the cords that are holding on to this ancestral program that this person in front of you is living out right now with you. Go ahead and see those cords. It can be more than one. Notice the parts of the earth that they may be connecting to. It can be different continents. And you might even tap into different planetary systems, which all represent archetypes and levels of consciousness. Your star seeds. Go ahead and see that. What do you see? Notice how the cord interconnects with ancestors. Who in your family is affected by this same program? Let it show you. You're going to go ahead and see those cords, and you're going to begin to work from the outside in, going to the furthest point of the cord. You're going to begin to uproot it, my love. Now, of course, we are not going to do anything that is against our free will, so I want you to ask yourself, are you ready to let that go? Are you ready to dissolve this cord within you? And if the answer is yes, you're going to continue to uproot all of these cords, healing the fragments of yourself. Clean them up. You can burn them up, you can dissolve them, whatever feels real to you. You're going to see all of these cords. Burning them up all the way till you get to the person in front of you in this memory. And then you're going to be at your body. So when you get to your body, I want you to stop. I want you to shine your crown light on top of this person, and you're going to see some contracts. Go ahead and see those contracts. Those contracts represent the cyclical pattern, this belief system. Go ahead and see if you can tap in. What is the contractual agreement? What agreement have you made with this soul in order to experience this? What's the lesson? What are we learning from this experience? Take a look at that. What are we learning not to do through this experience? Okay, when you're ready, go ahead and dissolve those contracts. Burn them up, tear them up, whatever feels real to you. Take your time until you no longer see them. If you're not ready to let them go, don't let them go. Very good. Now what you will see is you will see all of your ancestors in front of you, along with this person. I want you to surround them in a golden sphere of light, and I want you to tell me, what is it that they need in order to come into their highest expression? Now remember, what you're looking at is a reflection of yourself in these people that are living through this program that has caused so much suffering and pain throughout their lives and throughout our lives. So when you answer this question, take a look at it. You are answering the question for fragments of yourself within these souls, which are part of you. So what do they need? Go ahead and visualize that you're going to select a color that represents this neutralizing energy, this new information, and you're going to feed it to all of these people. Go ahead and allow them to absorb all of this healing energy. I want you to provide it to them, your healing fragments of yourself within them, allowing them to absorb into the core essence of their body, transforming them into white light. And we're going to cut the cord on their end. And you're going to go to your body, and I want you to pull out from all of the organs, from the multidimensional body, from all of your rings that surround your body, the 7 layers, all the cords that are holding on to this ancestral program out of the body, pulling out. Clearing, clearing, clearing. Notice how the body responds. And don't stop. Don't doubt yourself. Go to that last thread. Go to the last dot in your body that is holding on to this. Speak to the cells. Now that you've released that out of your body, you're going to let them go. I want you to refocus back on this fragment of yourself. Go ahead and look at this aspect of yourself in front of you that was healing earlier. I want you to ask this part of you, what is it that it needs in order to come into its highest expression? So anytime that we begin to get triggered by this emotion, what does it cause us to feel? Notice that. Okay, list it out. You can list out all the things it causes you to feel. What do you need in order to no longer feel this way when you are triggered by this emotion now? What does the body need? Go ahead and take that and fill this part of you up with that. Whatever it needed, fill it up into the pores, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, down to the cellular level, allowing it to come into its most healed, integrated self. Notice how it becomes brighter. It feels more complete. You are literally changing fragments of yourself, changing timelines. Go ahead and visualize absorbing this part of you back into your body, breathing deeply. Excellent. And you're going to feed that white light. You visualize bringing down a healing white light into the part of the body that felt heavy. And it should feel lighter now. So go ahead and bring that white light there into that space. Any other additional cords that you see in this space, go ahead and dissolve them. Remove them out of your body. Fill it in with white light. Go ahead and scan the 7 layers of the body to see if there are any stagnant shadows or shadow cords in those layers. You're going to start at the 7th layer, scan it, clear it. The 6th layer, scan it and clear it. The 5th layer, clearing. The 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. You're going to start with the root chakra. You're going to open that root chakra back into a balanced state. Going up to the 2nd chakra, open that chakra back into a balanced state. Going up to the solar plexus, opening it back into a balanced state. Into the heart chakra, bringing it into a balanced state. The throat. Any heaviness in the throat, go ahead and clear it out. The back, the front. Clearing, clearing. Make sure if you need to spin those chakras and detox them more, please do so. Please clear them. Your body must be absolutely clear and light at the end of every meditation to do what you need. Go up to your 3rd eye. But what I mean by that is take the time to give your body what it's asking for. Because if it's feeling uncomfortable, it means it needs attention. So make sure you're using your intuition to connect with the communication. Going up to the 3rd eye. We're going to send that color up into the 8th chakra, illuminate it. Noticing any ancestral cords that are toxic connecting to the 8th chakra. The 9th chakra. The 10th chakra. The 11th chakra. The 12th, and the 13th. And above you is the white light of source. Go ahead and connect up into that white light. Bring that white light down over your body, integrating the healing that you did today, bringing yourself love, gratitude, really, really feeling love and gratitude for this body, because right now we just it's like we looked at some pretty tender parts of our past. I want you to give yourself the support and love that you need to know that you are fully protected, you're safe. You are in charge of what you're experiencing in this moment, every moment. And that suffering is a choice that we make. Bring that white light into your body, and I want you to feel unconditional love for you, for this space, for yourself and all things around you. And your mantra today will be, I love myself and I love all things around me, even if we have a hard time loving them. Okay? Fill yourself with love. Fill yourself with love, the most healing frequency available. You're going to gently open your eyes as you come back into the room. And I want you to continue to see your protective field around you, your grounding cord, your whole G-pack, your grounding, connecting up to source, chakras in alignment, aware of your emotions, in a state of love. Amazing. You guys did an amazing job. You guys did some heavy work. Some of you really went all the way out there. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today. And does anyone have any questions? And I can take a couple questions. I do have to go to another appointment, so I want to make sure that I answer any kind of dire questions. And you can always post your questions in the group and I will answer them. There's some that I haven't gotten to. I will get to them today. So anybody have questions? Is it Antonella? Does Antonella have a question? Or was that
No,
earlier?
Hi, Geraldine.
Hi, Antonella. I see your hand raised. Was that for this or for
No,
earlier?
that was for
Earlier.
to raise my hand in order to do the ancestral healing versus the color for today.
Okay,
But
wonderful.
I wanted to share since I came on,
Yeah.
what I felt going in was a young girl like being silent, like coming in with no voice, no power. And
Wow.
I really felt that that's been kind of something that's been programmed and happening throughout my whole life. It's just never getting to be enough or becoming enough, because I always felt something pulling me back
Mm-hmm.
from really being who I need to be.
Yeah. Amazing, and I'm glad that you brought that up because this kind of work, it's pretty heavy work, and you can spend hours. I mean, I've spent hours, 5 hours on one thing like this, and what I noticed is that you begin to realize the centuries of millions of people that have adapted this same program, this same thinking. Like, for example, let's say the feminine being silenced. I mean, I have that in my family running, centuries, and even my entire race, my culture, they've all been suppressed in some ways. And when you look at that historical impact, we begin to recognize really the collective trauma that we experienced as a human race, and it has become a part of our genetics of the feminine, collectively. And this is not just a representation within ourselves as individual men and women, but men also are adapting this perspective when it comes to their feminine. Their feminine must be silenced. So when you start doing this work, I mean, you can really begin to, deeper layers of this work helps you assist release larger groups of souls that are trapped in this, that are mirrors of yourself, direct mirrors of yourself. You can start working with that. So thank you for bringing that up. It's a really great point, and I know a lot of us probably came across some of those really, really hard to look at experiences. Thank you. Rita asked, is the vortex outside the body? Which vortex? We work with a lot of vortexes. Rita, can you clarify?
The one that when you're trying to clear outside of yourself, like cutting the cords.
That's exactly right. It's going to be outside of your body. So I always, when we're doing heavy healing like this, you don't want to have it, this is energy, so you don't want it stuck in your space. So visualize a vortex in a neutral point in your home or outside of your home. I always keep it outside my window, and I just throw direct, very consciously, making sure that everything I'm letting go is going into that space. You visualize it's a portal, a direct portal going up to source, inviting whatever is in our space to now enjoy, because what it's doing in your body, it's feeding off your life force. That's why it's there. Okay, so that's an
Okay.
agreement we made. But now we're inviting it to a much larger fountain of that source that it can now be a part of. So we go ahead and move it in that space, and it can find itself in that white light if it chooses to. Okay,
Kind of like a
so
vacuum out of your body up to source.
exactly, exactly. And you just
Okay.
leave it out of your space completely. And this is a very responsible way to do energy work, because there's a lot of healing modalities out there that don't talk about this, and then we end up with the stuff getting stuck in your house, your roommates taking it on, and then that's not a conscious way of healing. So we need to make sure that we're directing whatever we're letting go, inviting it into another space. And then from there, it has the free will of choosing what it wishes to do as that consciousness, as that energy. Okay?
Thank you.
Very good question. Thank you. Rita says, I had the same blockage in the throat. Yep. Cedric, does this include past life healing? Absolutely. And what you're going to find out is that what you'll see when you go into these ancestral roots that are connected to other parts of the world, you're going to begin to acknowledge parts of you that are there, because they are. You're looking at your fragments right now. You're already going to past lives. Past lives, we cycle through all the same people that are in our ancestral lineage. We are those people. Those people are us. Okay, they're other reference points of our consciousness that are available to us. And so I've been able to go to all my past lives. When I finished doing unraveling this life, I was able to access every single one of my past lives, and I saw the connections. I saw my mother, my father, my brother, my aunt, even my best friend. I saw them in other past lives, because again, we're cycling through the same consciousness over and over again. We're one. And so the scenarios don't matter as much as the programs and contracts that we share. That's the important information. So you dissolve what you don't need, and you hold on to what you do need to help your journey. So great question. That is another layer of working. I invite you to work on these first, see how far you can go, and it'll naturally open up for you all your past lives as a result of that work. Anita, sometimes I get very tired when I meditate. So when we run energy, we're putting massive amounts of energy through the body, okay? And it is tiring, but the reason why it's tiring is because we are getting stuck in the emotions. Always come into a neutral point. We're also very conditioned to put judgment into things, and we may do so very subconsciously without becoming aware. And it takes some time, okay? That's why the most important first step for getting into this heavy work is to practice bringing yourself into a state of neutrality, becoming familiar with all of your emotions. Because then when you know them, you don't need to get stuck feeling them when you do this kind of work. You just stay at a neutral point. So in order to not be tired, maintain the neutral point. Don't go into the experience and start feeling the emotions, because that can be very draining, and you can get lost in those emotions, and they're distractions from what really matters, is the transmutation that occurs from the lower frequency vibration into a high frequency vibration. And anything in a high frequency vibration is moving really fast, very thin, very light. It's never heavy. So anything exhausting, tiring, feeding our life force. Also, make sure that your protective field is very covered. Make sure that there are beings around you, whoever is around your space, is not going to be draining your energy. Sometimes pets, we have contractual agreements with pets, and they drain our life force energy too, or they feed off of it. So we have to be careful and cut cords and just be neutral. Be as neutral as possible in that space. Also, green energy might be a lot for you. You can change that to gold light instead of green, okay? Some of us, we need gold light in our body. So just be aware of that and test it. See what works best for you. Mo, I can't see the full name, sorry, Mo, says, I've started with one person but ended up with different people, but I feel like I left the first person. Okay, just notice where it goes because, um, again, what you're looking at is all of the different fragments of yourself, the mirrors of yourself that are holding on to that same program. So awesome work. See what else is there. Keep going, unraveling those cords, and keep breaking the contracts, seeing if you have other ancestral cords with them. Luana says, I saw a lot of cords on my higher chakras, 8, 9, 10, 11 specifically. Did I remove them this time? Okay, so we can work on those higher levels some other time, but first we got to work on this one. And actually, what you're seeing in the higher levels are blockages that are in the body, okay? It's very interesting. The cords that you see in the higher levels are blockages that are still within this multidimensional body, 1 through 7, that are still reflecting holographically in that space, because those are, if we can't reach those areas bright and light, it's because we still got stuff over here that we have to clear and work through. Okay, so Vanessa says, I have fallen asleep during a couple of these meditations, then had really powerful meditations or dream later. That's great. And you know, sometimes our body needs to recover. So you're taking all of this in subconsciously, and maybe deeper aspects of yourself are learning the process and then applying them later. Okay? We are sponges of our environment at all times, even in sleep time, but our subconscious mind is recording everything, and not necessarily the conscious mind that is aware at this moment. So yeah, allow yourself to have rest. It's obviously a lot of emotions. Notice the moment when you start to check out what emotion you're feeling, because more than likely that's a heavy trigger and charge for us that we're wanting to separate from quickly to preserve, and then support yourself in that moment. Okay, next time work with that emotion gently. Give yourself time. Some of these meditations might take hours to do. That's okay. Just allow yourself, give yourself the time to do that. I agree with Vanessa. People haven't seen come up in my dream. Oh, very cool. All right, my loves. So, amazing questions. I hope you guys have an incredible day, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, you guys are amazing. All my
Thank
love.
you.
Love you. Thank you. Thank you.